Hello, friends. Let me adjust my camera ever so slightly. Hello, I am here. Hopefully you can see and hear me. Hopefully everything is working. We got Taryn here with first today. Heck yeah. And a 7-stream streak. A whole week's worth of Megan. That's a lot of meat. That's a lot of meat. I don't, frankly, know how you guys put up with me that much. We got Key here. We got Pie here as well. Welcome in, friends. Hello. Let me just get settled in here. Oh my goodness. Forever running behind. Let me do just one quick shout out because I noticed when I turned my OBS on that it seems like Sable tried to raid me yesterday. And I didn't see it, so it must have been, like, as we rated out. And I think this might have happened more than once. So let's just give her a quick shout out. Fellow rating streamer, I haven't been rating Sable lately because she wraps up at around the same time as me. As evidenced by the fact that I think she must have raided in, like, just after my raid popped. Unfortunately, I think she and I keep missing each other. But check her out. She is one of the lovely people who works on Game of Tomes, which is a game that runs during formerly NaNoWriMo months. So I believe it's April, August, and November. I used to participate, but I just don't have the time anymore or the energy for extra stuff at the moment. Also a lovely writing streamer. Streams at around the same time I do. And I don't get to raid her very often because she wraps up at around the same time that I do. But there's a shout out for Sable, just because I know she's been trying to raid. And here we are. It's Thursday. It's gray here as it has been lately. It actually looks kind of like that outside of my window right now, not gonna lie. Except without the rain. But here we are, it's Thursday, we're gonna be doing some work on My Little Domerin. We won't talk about the fact that we're across the 50,000 word mark, which technically means that this is technically a novel. You know, I don't mind rainy days. I think I've talked about this before. I don't mind rainy days. I actually kind of like the rain. But when it's gray and dreary and it's not raining and it's not snowing, it's like weird to me, like my brain. Some of it is published, Key, on my blog. If you pop over to megancutler.net, you can read the first several acts, the first several episodes. It goes up bi-weekly on my blog. That's where it is. That's where it's being published. That's not gonna happen, because it contains, copywritten property. I know you read my blog. I was like, why are you, like, telling me to publish it? You know where it is. Unfortunately, it does contain copywritten content, and therefore I can't make it its own separate entity. I hesitate to even make it something that could be distributed by, like, PDF or whatever, just because I don't want big My Little Pony coming after me. Who owns them? Is it Mattel? Who owns the My Little Pony toys? Hasbro? Anything but big Little Pony. Like, come on. They probably got lawyers, man. They probably got the good lawyers. I don't want none of that. Yeah, I think we might be about a third of the way through. I'm trying to change the story in my head so that we're about halfway through. Instead of a third of the way through, but at the very least, I hope we're a third of the way through, because I went too ambitious with this one. I'm gonna be the first to admit, this is like my YouTube apology video. I'm gonna be the first to admit I went way too ambitious with this project. I didn't expect it to be as wordy. I thought I could get through more story more quickly, but I should have known that it's me and it's Domerin. And Domerin's a wordy guy. So, have you read any of it yet, Taryn? Because I think you would be happy about one of the cameos in the story, just saying. Yeah, I went way too ambitious, and I'm trying to cut it back a little bit. I'm trying to get it back a little bit, so that it doesn't take, another entire novel length to get through this, but it's also just a fun little project for my blog, so if it takes extra time, like, whatever. I'm doing this for the community, and a little bit for me, because it's fun. Why not? Right now, though, I have to leave to get the little, then we're doing lunch and a haircut, so I don't think I'll be back, but I wish you lots of words. Taryn, it was good to see you. Good luck with the pickup and the lunch and the haircut. I hope it's all good. I hope it's all fun. So yeah, not shocking. I don't think it will shock anyone, that I went a little overboard and wrote more words than I anticipated I would. Even when I was outlining it, I was like, I originally thought I was going to end up having to write each episode in 3 parts. So I was like, 25 episodes in 3 parts, that's a lot. Or like 22 episodes. And so now I'm at like 22 episodes in 2 parts is 44 chapters, and that's probably too much. So we're gonna try to cut it back. Me go overboard? I know. It's never happened. So it shocks no one, I think, that we are where we are. But this is where we are. So indeed. This background that I have on in the game at the moment kind of reminds me of where Ghost's parents live. Not so much the mountain in the background, but in order to get to where Ghost's parents live, when we drive from the airport, we drive past a lot of like farmland. So this view kind of reminds me of that. Oh my goodness. I keep thinking of this as a lighthouse, but it's inland, so it's a silo. Key, how you doing today? Some days I wish I didn't live so close to farmland. Oh boy, I get that. I grew up, well, you know where I grew up. I grew up in the area near where you are. And there was always like 1 or 2 weeks in the spring when everything just smelled like literal shit because they fertilized the fields. So you would, where our house was, you couldn't smell it so much, but when we drove up toward the strip, which I know you know what that is, it would just waft over your car. Like, you would drive right straight into it, because all the fields out behind where all the commercial stuff would have fertilized. And I remember also then in the fall driving past the fields and seeing the big hay balls. I was always fascinated by the big like hay bundles that they make, because when I was a kid I didn't know how they did that, and it seemed magical. And then I grew up and learned that a machine does it, and I was like, that kind of takes away the magic. Feeling a lot better and having a slow day at work, so pretty good now. Heck yeah! I'm glad to hear that you're feeling a lot better. It sounded like you had it pretty rough for a while. It always makes me so sad, as they're the best weeks to go outside normally and smell awful. Yeah, pretty much. Just kind of got used to that. Like, when I was young, I didn't know, like, the cycle that it happened in, and then as I got, you know, towards teenage years, I would just be like, okay, it's gonna be that time for a little while. But you just kind of get used to it, I guess, when you live in farm country. Ghost Pepper's parents do live near a lot of farms. We out here, there is a lot of farms in BC, but in our area specifically, it's mostly orchards and vineyards. Like, so anything that's, like, in town is mostly that kind of stuff, so we don't really get a week or whatever of heavy smell. I imagine if we drove outside of town in the right direction, we probably would, because they grow a lot of stuff in this area. But, like, in and around town, it's mostly just... And when I say orchards, they're not even, like, apple orchards for eating. They're usually apple orchards for cider, which the apples that they grow for cider are not good for eating. So they tend to be like really small apples, and they tend to be not very good flavor if you were to bite into them. It also is interesting to me that you can't really eat the apples that they grow for cider or the grapes that they grow for wine. Because the hay bales are fun to collect and deliver. Man, when I was a kid, I used to be so fascinated by the hay bales. But we went on a tour. We've been on a couple of wine tours since we moved here. We really didn't drink much alcohol until we moved here. It was just never really on our radar. And then we moved here to wine country, and so all of our friends were like, let's go on wine tours. So we went on a tour of a place that's near us, called Quail Ridge, I think it is, or Quail's Gate, which is a pretty fancy place. It's one of the fancier ones. And when we did the tour, moving there made you alcoholic? Yeah. Yep. That's what I said, right? We went on the tour, and we went, like, behind the scenes, and the guy who was our tour guide was talking about how they grow their grapes. Because the idea is that we live in a semi-arid climate. I've kind of talked about this before. We live in a semi-arid climate, and so we don't get a ton of rainfall in the summer. We do get, like, moisture at certain times of year. So, like, spring, fall, and winter, we do tend to get snowfall, not this year, or heavy rain. But then in the summer, we get a long stretch where it's very dry. And the idea is that the grapes are forced to put their vines very deep in order to get to the water that's on the ground. And that pulls up a bunch of minerals and earthiness that they wouldn't get if you grew them in a place that rains year-round. So that's why they grow so many grapes here. And also the other reason is because we have volcanic soil. So there are no volcanoes here now, But there are some dormant volcanoes. Now I'm cold again. I need my blanket back. So there is a dormant volcano out on the west side, and because it used to way, way, way in the long ago be active, we do have a lot of that volcanic ash and mineral in our soil still. So that's the reason they grow so many grapes here. But it takes about 5 to 7 years before they can use the yield from the grapes in the wine. So you gotta imagine when you're first starting out as a winery, your first 5 years, you're basically just growing crop to throw away. Like they can't really make wine out of it. It takes that many years for the plant to develop enough to have the type of flavor that they're looking to convey in the wine. And so I was like, well, the fruit that gets produced for those first 5 to 7 years, can you sell it and like to people to eat? And they were like, no, because it won't taste good. Because the type of grapes that they're growing aren't eating grapes, they're wine grapes. So it blows my mind, like the amount of. Now I think not all of the grapes take that long. Certain types of grapes take that long. It varies. But they still need the plant to grow for a minimum of 3 years, I think, before they can actually use it. It's mind-boggling. So once they get established in the soil and the plants have been around for a while, that's when they get reliable product. But if they have excess or whatever, they can't just sell it on to the grocery store because it wouldn't taste good. This makes the boom of wine vineyards in my area make a way more sense, but we need some more volcanoes. Yeah, don't think volcanoes happen on your part of the world. This is why there's also a lot of wineries in California, because it's the same type of environment, right? Semi-arid, and they actually want. It's the same with cherries. They actually want a time period when it's not going to rain for a while, because that forces the plants to look deep into the soil to pull out the minerals. And also, if it rains during cherry seasons, when the cherries are ripening, the cherries will split, and then they can't sell them because they don't look nice and they don't last as long. So a couple years back, it was really rainy here in the spring, and the BC cherry crop was basically ruined. They'll bring in helicopters if it rains. The cherry orchards will bring in helicopters to hover over the fields, because the propeller will basically disperse the rain and keep the cherries from splitting. It's crazy. Where did I learned all these weird random facts after we moved here, because this is what's grown in our area. But yeah, that's basically what's grown in our area, is mostly stuff for booze. And then the cherries do get sold for eating. But it's really interesting because you can tell which years were really bad fire years from the alcohol. We go to a meadery across town, and they have a sicer, which is kind of like a rudimentary type of cider. Like back in the day before they made cider, they made sicers, which is like a sparkling mead, essentially. And they make a cicer that they put cherry juice into, and they get the cherries locally. And one year that had this really smoky flavor, like just smoky cherry flavor. And they were like, yeah, it was because the cherries sucked up all the smoke from the wildfires, and it put that flavor in. So different years you get a different flavor. And so depending on what they're putting into the alcohol for that year, it will taste slightly differently depending on how smoky it was. We really need to find a good mead that actually gets sold around here. Man, I wish I could recommend I wish I could recommend our meadery because it's so good, but I highly doubt it's available in your area. Um, they might ship internationally, but it would be stupid expensive. It would be stupid expensive. um, but I can say the label just in case you ever see it. The Sicers that they do are called Bliss. And they have plain apple, they have apple, they have cherry, and they have Haskap, which is, if you haven't heard of Haskap, it's super good. It's kind of like a cross between a blueberry and a raspberry. Super good. So they have, those are Bliss, and then they have, their main meat is called Cloud Horse, which is really good. So I doubt you'll see it in your area, but if you ever see something called Cloud Horse, it's super good. Mead was kind of my gateway into drinking because it was the first alcohol that I ever tasted that didn't taste super gross to me. Which is funny to me because I read American Gods, and in American Gods, Shadow has to do shots of mead when he makes a deal with Mr. Wednesday, and it talks about how gross it is. Like, it makes a point of being like, mead is the grossest alcohol. And then I tasted mead for the first time, and I was like, this is great. And it was like the best alcohol I ever had. So I started drinking mead, and then I started drinking cider, which wasn't that far off. And then from there I eventually got into wine and stuff. My gateway being whiskey is such a wild way to be introduced to alcohol. You know what, though? Ghost was that way, too. Like, the first alcohol that Ghost was really into was whiskey. And it's still, like, it's his go-to thing. He's a whiskey guy. And it was so wild because for a while it was the only alcohol he drank. So it was like, not interested in cider, not interested in rum, not interested in wine. Whiskey? Yes, please. So, you guys have that in common. Scribblins, hello, how's it going? We've just been talking about some random stuff, mostly the crops that grow in this area. But, yeah, I kind of wonder what the summer is going to be like this year, because we have gotten a bunch of rain this winter, but I don't know how much snow we've gotten in the mountains, and we need that snowpack. We need that snowpack that's going to melt in the spring and get all the trees ready to be fireproof. But yeah, here we are. Scribblins, how's it going? What you up to today? I'm gonna start trying to get my brain switched over into work mode because we gotta do some clicky clackies today. We're gonna be doing the usual 3 30-minute sprints with 15-minute breaks in between. Oh, I wonder if I should hang out in Domerin's house today. Hey, Sardonisms, how's it going? We haven't hung out in Domerin's house in a while. Woke up at 2 a.m. and had to write. It was awesome. Hell yeah! How much did you get in, Scribblins? Found a good book. It's technically not Danmei. The problem with not letting the hyperfixation drive the bus is now the distractibility is driving the bus instead. I mean, if it's a good book, go for it. Y'all have infected me with the writing flu. Yes, it's working. Keep that writing flu. Write all the good words. If it feels good to write, that's the best. When it feels good, that's when writing is peak. Because there are days when writing doesn't feel good, and those are the worst days. But when writing feels good, man, that's the best. Also, sardonisms, I wanted to let you know that I did look into how I can get my books on places like Libby. And the bad news is it's not quick because I can't distribute through Amazon. I have to distribute through a different distributor. So I do have plans to do that, but because I have to set up a different account and go through the whole process and figure out their formatting guidelines and all that kind of stuff, it's probably going to take a while. So it's on the list to get sorted out. And I have been planning to take some of my older books out of KU and make them wide anyway. So I know which distributor I intend to go through, but unfortunately I can't just like click a couple of buttons and make it happen, which is frustrating because why won't Amazon distribute to libraries? Amazon should distribute to libraries. There's no reason that they wouldn't. It's very annoying, but for whatever reason, they don't. Even if you're not in KU, they still don't distribute to libraries. So I have that earmarked. It's in the plan, but it's not something I can do super quickly, unfortunately. A whole chapter written and edited. I'm really slow, but it doesn't matter because I'm having fun. Speed is not the most important thing. Like you said, feeling good is the most important thing. Was hanging with a friend, but here now. Shadowbug, how's it going? How are you? Welcome in. We're just about to get started on our Clicky Clackies. This is when you guys can redeem a spirit companion, a location, or an activity if you'd like. Maybe. I mean, it could be. But, I would guess it's probably Amazon being a jerk. Versus Overdrive being the jerk. I can't blame Overdrive if they don't want to work with Amazon. Honestly, Amazon makes certain things overly complicated. But it would be nice if you could opt in to library distribution from Amazon's end. But yeah, it's probably going to be a long-term process. I was hoping to start getting my paperbacks wide this year. It has been slow because I've had to deal with computer issues and health issues and a couple of other things. So that might end up taking precedence because I need to work with my cover artist to get everything settled for the paperbacks, versus once I start doing wide distribution for the ebooks, that's something that I can do on my own time without having to involve anyone else with it. But it is in there. It is on the list. I do at least know which distributor I intend to use, but getting set up sometimes is a bit of a process, especially when I have to go through the tax stuff. Because it's usually slightly more onerous to do the tax setup stuff when you're Canadian, because there's an extra form that I sometimes have to fill out, so it'll get there, it's just gonna take time. Just working on something for my mom while waiting for the gas people to get here to fix the fireplace. Well, I hope it's going well, Shadowbug, and I hope the fix for the fireplace is quick. Is that the only form of heat that you have, or is there like at least some other heat that you have? I don't know how hot it is in your area. We need the heat right now, for us. Oh my goodness. Let me see. I already have my document set up. I already have a plan for how I want to get into this scene. So really it's just me procrastinating at this point. 7 stream streak. Heck yeah, Shadowbug. Thanks for hanging out for 7 streams. It's going fine. And no, we have an HVAC system. Nice. That is good. Always good. Alright. I am going to take my quick pre-work break as per usual. So if anyone would like to redeem a location or a spirit companion or a particular activity for us to do on this fine morning while I am clicky-clacking, now would be the time. Otherwise, I'll just set up something random. I think I'm probably going to keep my avatar, even though we're hanging out in Domerin's room. But you know, we can change things up. A working fireplace is a good thing to have. You are absolutely correct. And especially if it's on the fritz, you don't want to leave it not working. I am going to be right back. Reminder to, if you need to get up, stretch, move around, grab something to eat and or drink before we settle in for getting our work done. Plus, Mittens always enjoys lying in front of it. Heck yeah, I would too if I was Mittens. Be right back, my friends. I'm back. Fireplaces make homes 300% more cozy. This is true. We used to have, it wasn't a nice fireplace, but we used to have like a fakey one at our old place. And so every date night when we sat down to watch movies, we'd turn on the fakey fireplace. It made it so cozy, even though it was just fake. I mean, it would, it was a heater. Like, it would put out heat if you wanted to, but the flames were entirely fake. But it was still cozy. My in-laws have a for reals one that actually has. It doesn't produce large flames, but it's I think it's a gas one, so it's enclosed, and then so it's not like a traditional fireplace, so it's enclosed, but it does have actual fire in it. But ours was fake. Ours was fake. Our flames were fake. You could turn off the heat and you could leave the flames on. But it was still nice. It was still a nice little effect to have. I see a save alert from Pi. I will hit the save button even though I have not typed a single word yet. Just for you, Pi. Let's do an activity. Let's do a typing. And who do we want to hang out with today? I feel like I hang out with the same spirits, like, constantly. Let's hang out with this little sweetie. Too cute. Too cute. Alright. I think we're ready to go. I redeem pickles like twice a week. That's okay though. That's okay. You can redeem whoever you like. One of the reasons why I put the redeems in there was because I was like, I feel like if I pick, we're always just gonna hang out with like the same 3 spirits. So that way other people can see spirits that they want to hang out with. And if we hang out with pickles every day, we hang out with pickles every day. I'm not sad. I don't mind. My daily workout is hauling firewood and cleaning the floors. Ooh, do you have like a wood fireplace at your place, Scriblins? Pickles is adorable. I agree. And I like hanging out with the spirits that have personal connections for you guys, because that makes it more cozy for me as well. And I know that not everybody who watches the stream has this game. I know a lot of people have come in and seen the stream and been like, ooh, I need this, and bought the game. But I know that not everybody does have the game, so if I can let you hang out with a piece of the game that makes you happy, that you might not be able to experience on your own, that makes me happy too. That's why we're here. I hang out with the cactus boy a lot. This boy. I'll switch back to the deer after, but I hang out with this guy, the bloom scale or whatever he is, in his cactus form. I hang out with this guy a lot. This is my favorite. And I know he has other skins, but I never use them. I always use the cactus one. He's my little cactus boy. I love him so much. When I'm not feeling well, I put him on and I wait for his blep. On Monday, I was super tired. I felt super gross. And I sat in the window with my little cactus lizard and I saw several bleps and it just carried me through the day. So, you never know. You never know. I know, right? Somewhere there's a clip of the blep in my channel clips, because he doesn't do it very often. You have to sit through quite a loop, an animation loop, because I think the more spirits they've added to the game, the longer they've made the animation loops, so the later spirits do slightly different things versus the original spirits, which have a very quick animation loop. So he doesn't do the blep super often, but it is the most adorable thing. That and when he's whisking, it's just too cute. Oh, I like that. I like that the deer does the little lift and point with the nose. That's so cute. All right, no more procrastination. I gotta get in there and get these clicky clacks going. So let's do one more sip of coffee and then we'll hit the button. I kind of have a plan for this scene, but we'll see. We'll see. Don't have as strong a plan for this part of the story as I did for the last part, but hopefully once I get started, it'll come to me. That's always the hope. It's also why this is so long, is because I just kind of sit down and write whatever. I didn't, like, ultra plan out this fanfic. It's just kind of stream of consciousness happening. Just read the start of a book synopsis that reminded me of the synopsis where I used the first 5 words to sell the book, and it either works or they won't like the book. And inveterate flirt and walking disaster. Peter, hello. Writers Troop, hello. How's it going? Sorry. I've been so sneezy the past few days. Gonna lurk till then, popping in to give you a raid warning in about 20 minutes. Heck yeah! See you then, Writers Troop. Thank you, Peter. I'm sure if Key is here, he will chuckle about my delicate little sneezels. Peter, holy cow! Give me a minute to just finish blowing my nose here. So I can properly acknowledge that streak. A 70 stream streak for Peter. Peter, 70 streams. Holy wow. No, you're good. You are all good. I wanted to give you that heart for that 70 stream streak. Didn't want to thank you while I was leaning off camera. Tangent Turner, hello, welcome in. How's it going? I did that hydrate on my own, and now I'll do the hydrate. Hydrate for pie. Alright, I think I've finished the first scene, so I will grab a chapter break. So I can start the second scene. Sneeze again. My goodness. I have no idea why I'm so sneezy. That is the first sprint. We're at 1,571 words, and we're into the second scene. And I think it's going well. Like I said, I don't have quite as strong a plan for this scene for this sequence as I had for the last sequence. I'm slightly making it up as I go, but I think it's heading in the direction I want it to head in. Thank you, Peter, for the double blessing. Tangent Turner, what's up? What you working on today? If you want to share, no pressure. If not, if you're just here to lurk, you're welcome to lurk. Who else came in? Peter, you came in during the Sprinty Spront. How are you doing? What are you up to today? Still enjoying the ponies? Yeah, I mean, I intend to finish the story. I actually have an idea for a sequel to this if we ever have a need for a second My Little Domerin, so listen, I'm happy to write whatever fun little thing. I just think it's funny that I've written over 50,000 words of a silly My Little Pony fanfic, and I'm maybe, like, maybe a third of the way through the story. Hopefully closer to halfway. I'm hoping that I'm close to halfway, to the halfway point of the story. I'm thinking it's going to end up being shorter than I initially intended, episode-wise. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm sleepy but okay. I went out and about and I was doing things and I had lunch. It's very windy outside today, which is chilly. Dang. It's just gray here today, although the sun is starting to come out a little bit, which is nice. I don't know if the light level on my camera has changed, but it's definitely, the light level outside has changed. Although I can see it's very foggy on the mountain. The clouds are very low and thick today. If the book opening by calling MC a walking disaster doesn't sell you on it, I give up and assume it's not for you. Fair. I didn't know until I bought the game that he's normally a flower and not a succulent. I know, because I use the cactus skin by default. I use the cactus skin by default, so I always forget that he's not a cactus when you first get him. I don't know if I trust mountains. They're just a bit too big for my comfort. Ours are a nice size. So we live close to the Canadian Rockies, but not actually, like, in them. I think we live slightly past them. So if we drive in either direction, there are bigger, rockier, stronger mountains than the mountains that are on either side of us. The mountains that are directly on either side of us are kind of gentle mountains. They're more rounded and coated in trees. Versus the really, like, jagged Rocky Mountains that you get in the Rocky Mountains. So I like our mountains. I think they're very pretty and I enjoy them. But they're not the, like, super impressive, scary mountains, that we see when we drive to other places. I'd fight a mountain. I don't even care. I'm not scared of them. There's nothing they can do about it. I don't know how well that fight would go, Peter, but I believe you're very brave for being willing to stand up to the mountains. I actually wrote a short on my blog, a series of shorts, which you can find over at megancutler.net, which was, I believe I called it, like, Wandering Mountains or something like that, and the idea was that mountains are massive creatures, who are asleep, and every couple of centuries they wake up and move around. And so I don't know how you get the website to come up, but it's right there. It's just megancutler.net. And the idea was that it took place in the plains. Writers Troop, hello! Perfect timing! Welcome in! How's it going? How was your stream? The idea was that it took place in the plains, a plains town that was getting ready for a trading caravan, and they woke up one morning and they were surrounded by mountains, and suddenly they had no idea how to get around because they had to go over everything when they were used to just having this big open flat space. And so it was kind of this idea about communing with the mountains and learning to talk to these creatures who only wake up every so often and who spend most of their time asleep. And it's a story that I might do a little bit more with at some point in the future. But it is right now a small group of shorts that you can find on my blog. Fiona Min, welcome in. Writers Troop, welcome in. Vanessa here with the troop. Heck yeah. How was your stream? Vanessa, what were you up to today? I would totally live on a traveling mountain. The best way to see the world and be a homebody at the same time. Right? Right? And when they stop to rest, you just come down off the mountain slope, you hang out in the new area, you go back to your hut. Perfect. I got the idea when we were driving to Calgary one time, because I would look out of the car at the big rocky mountains, like the ones that are more jagged and more rocky and less tree coated. And they kind of looked like they had faces. And I was like, what if mountains were sleeping creatures that could wake up and move around and talk to each other? And then I wrote that little story. It went well. I did a little beta reading, and then I worked on my in-person sales stuff because I have a convention starting tomorrow. Heck yeah! Writers Troop, good luck at the convention. I hope it's tons of fun. Is it like a local thing? Are you able to like go to this convention from home? Because I imagine that's much easier than when you have to like travel. Oh my goodness. I am probably going to, in a moment here, pause the timer and go for a quick bathroom break. We've got 2 more 30-minute sprints coming up with plenty more clicky clackies for your entertainment and for my productivity. In the down below, there are redeems for what spirit companion, location, or activity you might want to do during either of those sprints. So there are 2 sprints open so 2 slots for each of those redeems for anyone who would like to redeem something. If no one redeems anything, I'll just pick and we'll just do whatever I do. Whatever of the 5 spirits that I drift towards. We'll be driving in for this one. It's a steampunk convention, but also very welcome with fantasy stuff. That sounds super cool. That sounds super cool and fun, Writers Troop. I hope you have a fabulous time, and I hope you'll tell us about it when you get back. Nice. I will also remind everybody at this time, as I'm about to do it myself, that you need to get up and move around from time to time, stretch, grab yourself something to eat and or drink, use the restroom, that kind of stuff, because focus is good, but we also got to take care of our bodies. Otherwise, they'll get mad at us. So I am going to pause the timer, pop AFK to use the restroom myself, and I'll be right back. I'm back. And I know I said this already, and Vanessa's probably gone off already, but thanks again, Writers Troop, for the raid. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Oh my goodness. Peter, did you say what you're up to today? Other than fighting mountains? What was for lunch? While you were gone, I was thinking about the Venga bus. Am I gonna regret asking what the Venga bus is? It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't remember. I didn't forget to unmute the stream after my work call. Hey. I was AFK anyway. I went to Five Guys for lunch. Originally wanted McDonald's. So why did you end up at Five Guys instead? Was the McDonald's like closed or too busy? Or Five Guys was just siren calling to you? I do not have big plans for lunch today. Probably probably just a sandwich and a salad. I've heard a lot of good things about Five Guys. We don't have one here. I don't know if that's a West Coast, East Coast thing, or just, we just don't have one in our area, but we don't have one here. Do they not have a chicken Sammy for you at Five Guys, Peter? Do you not eat beef at all, Peter? Because you've mentioned before that you don't usually do beef. Hang on. It's gotten very bright now. I might have to actually cull the light coming in here a little bit. I may have gotten slightly blinded by the amount of sun suddenly coming in. They don't have any chicken at Five Guys. I don't do any beef at all. Beef is not my friend. So is that just because you don't like it, Peter? You don't like... I'm assuming you're not vegetarian because you eat chicken. So is it just like you don't like the taste? You don't like the texture? You don't have to answer, by the way, if it's too personal. I'm just curious. Because I remember you've mentioned the chicken Big Mac several times. Did they put the secret sauce on the chicken one? The Thousand Island dressing? Because that's what it is. I guess I better pick a... Pick an activita. Let's hang out with the little pancake guy. I need to learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu from Naruto so that I can make my clones read every book at once and then merge back into one person and remember everything. If I could do that with writing too, that'd be excellent. Because I have too many books to read and I can't read all of them at literally the exact same time. I feel this. I used to read multiple books at one time and I don't have that level of focus anymore. I have to read just one thing at a time now. And I have mixed feelings about the thing I'm reading right now. Which makes it complicated. Let's see, taste and texture thing. I've never enjoyed beef even when I was a kid. A teacher once showed me a video about where beef comes from. Oh gosh. And I was way too young to see it, so since then I've been like, no to you, beefy sir, good day. Fair. Fair, Peter. I actually didn't like beef that much when I was a kid either, but I like it more as an adult, I find. And I don't know if it's because, like, my mom tended to cook beef a certain way, and I think I like the way that me and Ghost Pepper cook beef better. Um, like, we just cook it differently. But also, your taste does change as you get older, so maybe I just liked the Also, though, I think we switched to using leaner beef, less fatty beef, than I used to have when I was a kid, and I think that can make a difference, too. I can only do that if the book demands my full attention, and most of them just don't do that for the whole time of reading them. Yeah, I have to go through one thing at a time now, because if I try to split up between books the way I used to, I forget what was happening, I forget who people are. I just can't keep track of things. I can keep track of my stuff pretty well, but I have notes that help me do that, and when I'm reading, I just can't. I just can't keep up with things. Can't remember. Uh, in this part of Scotland, minced beef is a big part of the meal plan, especially because my money was not abundant, so I basically starved because it was beef at home, beef at school, and it was gross, and I basically starved until someone caught that I wasn't eating. Oh, Peter. Well, I'm glad that you're at a point now when you don't have to do that, because you gotta eat. I love books, but I can't eat a whole one. Mood. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about. I think I've mentioned I'm reading the first Silo books. I'm reading Wool by Hugh Howey, and I have very mixed feelings about it. It's better than the show. I think the show made itself overly convoluted and complicated for no reason. But there are still things about the book where I'm like, I feel like they've created all their own, like the people doing things in the book have made their own problems, and if they just stop doing the things that they're doing, their problems would go away. Is what I feel like. But I'm still only like 40% through the book. Well, Peter, hopefully life is better for current present day Peter. I'm gonna get back into clicky clacky mode here for the sprint. And we'll talk more after. Rai Rai, how's it going? Just woke up from a nap. I hope it was a good nap. I hope you're feeling well rested. Sorry, I made a face right then because I was trying to think about how language works, and I came up blank. Using Domerin in the same sentence as cutie mark is hilarious to me. But cutie mark lore had to come into this at some point. Oh snap, a 15 stream streak. Heck yeah. Too late for coffee, too early for wine. Guess I'll have to drink water. Can we go tea, Scriblins? Somewhere in between? Cheers. I feel that though. I literally have a shirt that says the coffee has worn off and the wine hasn't yet kicked in. My doorbell is ringing again. Doorbell already rung today. I'm not going to answer it right away. Because I don't want to talk to anybody. Let me just go peek quickly. Well, hiding in here was probably a good call because there was no package out there, so someone was probably trying to sell me something. I have a tendency to not answer my door when the doorbell rings because I don't want people to sell things to me. Psychiatric. Nice name. Welcome in. How's it going? Alright, we are at the end of this sprint in 4 seconds, and we are at 3,059 words across 2 sprints, almost at the end of a second scene. Heck yeah! Where did I stop? I stopped there. So that means for the second sprint, we wrote 1,488 words, almost the same amount as the first sprint, which is good since I got up and checked the door. I wrote multiple paragraphs of a thing. Let's just pretend that this wasn't supposed to be part of a Christmas gift exchange. Hey, you had some stuff going on before Christmas. I'm sure everyone understands sardonisms. Writing anything at all is a win. Psychiatric, if you are a writer, artist, or whatever, let us know what's up and what you're working on. If not, still let us know what's up and how your day is going. We're happy to have you. I'm trying to sell the idea of giraffe-sized emus. Please buy. Peter, if that was you at my door, why, though? One thing that it's this weird sentence to say, but one thing that I appreciated about the pandemic lockdown was that people stopped coming to my door to try and constantly sell me things. And so I have gotten in the habit of not going out right away when the doorbell rings because I don't want to be sold things. Actually, I can check who was at the door. This morning I did that, but the mail lady stuck around, which was good because I actually had to sign for a package for Ghost. I forgot that I can actually see who was at the door. Isn't this exciting? My phone is gonna ding like the doorbell, just so you're aware that's gonna happen. It might jump scare. It'll be a jump scare. Be prepared. I forgot that we have a doorbell camera now. So I can see who was there. Oh. Red shirt, it was Rogers. I've told them to stop coming here. I've told them to take me off their list. I don't want your internet. I don't want your internet. Get out. It was the Rogers. It was the Rogers internet, people. Oh no, Sardonisms, are you still with us? I'm a writer, but I'm editing ahead of hitting post on a chapter. No worries, Psychiatric. Editing, important part of the process. Welcome in. We're glad to have you today. We've got one more 30-minute focus sprint left today before we wrap up. And I'm working on My Little Domerin, which is a My Little Pony fanfic featuring that grumpy little elf man down there in the corner, who is the main character in my Arvalia Chronicles. Oh, for some reason, I've turned off my latest release. Hang on. Should fix that. The animations are gonna freeze for 1 second here. Let me fix this. Let me fix. It's gonna wipe the chat clean here for a second, but there we go. And now you can see my latest release. I don't know how that happened, but here we go. So yeah, I'm a sci-fi and fantasy writer. Usually I am not writing fanfic, but we do have a fanfic going on, which is a community reward that the community unlocked by helping me pay for my computer a little while back, which is a fun and wild story. Computer stream keeps lagging, so I'm on phone, but I need my phone to be an audiobook player, so I need the computer to work. I'm sorry it's giving you trouble, Sardonisms. Does Canada have any law that allows you to file a lawsuit against companies after asking them to take you off their list? I don't know, honestly, because it's not a phone thing, it's a door-to-door thing, and I assume it's not illegal to knock on someone's door. But this is why I just don't answer. Because 90% of the time, it's somebody trying to sell me something. We had a guy, at the end of last year, we had a guy come to the door who offered to do a they offered us a estimate on getting the gutters cleaned, and I was like, okay, we need our gutters cleaned, so I'll get an estimate. Usually it's quick and painless. They tell you how much it would cost to do it, and then Ghost Pepper decides whether or not he wants it done. Hang on, let me make sure the chat is still working. It is still working. Okay, good. And so I was like, yeah, I'll get it done. Ghost can decide if he wants to get the gutters cleaned, because it is something we need to get done. And so the last day of school, right before Christmas break, half day, Ghost comes home, he takes a nap, he gets up for this consultation with the gutter cleaner guy. But instead of giving us an estimate on getting the gutters cleaned, he was trying to sell us this product that they made that was ridiculously expensive. Like, he quoted us something like, I don't know, $12,000 to get this thing installed. And we were just like, please leave. In not so many words, we were like, we need to talk about it. We'll let you know. And then you could tell this guy was desperate for a sale, because he was like, is it the price? Because I can give you a sale discount. And then when we were still like, we'll talk about it, please leave. Like, we were giving off big please leave energy. But I did see the comment that you said about getting the writing done, and I said you had a lot going on before Christmas. I'm sure people understand. And so then he was like, well, how did you find out about us? Because I guess he didn't know, like, how he ended up coming to the house. Like, maybe he thought we were interested ahead of time. And I was like, some guy came to my door and was like, hey, do you want a gutter cleaning? So please just tell us how much the gutter cleaning would be. And then he quoted us $2,000, and we were like, okay, we'll talk about it. Goodbye, get out. Ghost was so mad, and it's like, this is why I don't answer the door. Because people come under false pretenses, and they're like, we're gonna give you an estimate about this. And then it's not that, they just want to sell you some stupid thing. This guy had a binder. He had a whole binder that he was going through that included, like, we sponsor a NASCAR car. And Ghost was gonna stand there and let him go through the whole binder until I walked out there and I was like, skip to the price. Tell us how much it costs. Like, sounds good, how much? And then as soon as he said the price, we were like, not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, buddy, just leave. So if you're wondering why I don't answer my door, that's why I don't answer my door. If I'm expecting something, if I'm expecting a package, or if I'm expecting someone to come over, then I will. But, like, this morning I waited a good 40 seconds before I went and checked the door. And then there was still someone standing there, so I was like, fuck me. But it was the mail lady was, like, putting the missed package notice on the door as I opened it. And then I thought she was here with a package for the boys downstairs, so I was going to be like, yeah, you have to go around to the side, because I don't sign for their stuff, just in case, like, it's a liability thing. And she's like, oh no, it's for Ghost Pepper. And I was like, oh, I can sign for him. You can always get the local kids to clean the gutter out. That we literally were like, we can clean the gutters ourselves. And we're going to. We're probably also going to get, like, a leaf cover to put in there. Like, it'll be so much cheaper. It was just the audacity of this guy when we were, like, clearly not interested, and he was trying not to leave, and it's like, get out of my house. So finally, because I was crampy that day, like, I was period cramp day, so I was like, I'm sick, I want to lay down. And I kept being like, you know, I gotta lay down, you know, thanks for coming, I gotta lay down, because it was the only way to get him to leave. And I was like, leave. See, to learn about gravity. That is a shockingly sinister statement, Peter. The kids need to learn about gravity. I am going to pause the timer for our final break. Reminder to get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink if you need any of those things. Oh yeah, I know you still have to clean them off, but there's an area where the oh my god, words just escaped my brain. There's an area where the water is seeping in beside the gutter, so we have to get a coating, something that will coat that area and keep the water from seeping in there. So it's not about not having to do it again in the future. It's just about, you know, protecting it against. What we did learn from the guy was that we actually have a really good gutter system aside from the parts where it's seeping. So as long as we get something in there that is preventing the water from going against the siding, it'll be fine. But it won't cost us $2,000. Kids are asleep. Hello, hello. I'm just about to pop AFK for break, but I hope you're doing well, and we'll talk more when I get back. And if anyone would like to redeem any spirit companion or location or activity for today, or if you guys want me to go 3 for 3 on picking those out, those are in the down below. You can go ahead and redeem them. Waiting for banana bread to finish baking. I bet your house smells amazing. I love banana bread. I will be right back, and we will get on with our final sprint. Thank you for letting me rant about the people who come to my door, because I'm so sick of people coming to my door. I'll return. Ooh, vegan banana bread so the husband can eat it. Nice. I assume that maybe your husband lactose in the same way that I lactose. So I think the last time I made banana bread, I made it with oat milk. Can't remember the recipe exactly. I don't know, I'm very particular about who I trust when it comes to my leaf information. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, because we were speaking about it earlier, let's whisk with our little cactus boy. Why not? He's a cutie patootie. I think we can all use a little bit of this in our life. Just, he's so cute. Just look at him. He's so cute and happy. He's vegan because he doesn't want to eat meat, just meat averse. Ah, that's fair too. 100%. Even baking doesn't fix the toes. Nope, if there's milk in it, the milk doesn't bake out, so it'll still leave behind. There's even this thing in Canada called modified milk ingredients. I don't think they'd use it in the States. I think it's a Canadian specific thing. But basically what they often do is they'll separate the components of milk, essentially, so that they don't have to use everything. So sometimes it's just whey protein, or sometimes it's modified milk ingredients. But anything that contains any piece of milk can also contain some lactose in it, and for me, my gut is sensitive enough that I can't eat any of those things. And cooking it out doesn't change it or anything. Even certain cheeses are supposed to be easier for people with lactose intolerance to eat because part of the lactose is consumed as part of the natural cheese making process. And so there are some things that are slightly easier for me to stomach. Yogurt I'm pretty good with because of the active bacterial cultures. I can sometimes get away with eating yogurt without too much trouble. Sour cream, because again, a lot of the lactose is consumed by the process of that being made. And certain cheeses are supposed to be really light as well, but cheddar, which is one of the cheeses that's supposed to be pretty okay, usually gets me. Swiss cheese I'm usually pretty good with because Swiss cheese is naturally lactose free. Yeah. I'm very sensitive, though. Each person with lactose intolerance has their own tolerance level. And I think, ate cheese for years without realizing that I was hurting myself. And so my gut is really sensitive, unfortunately. Greek yogurt I do pretty good with. I still usually have to take a pill because there is lactose in it. But because it has a lot of that active bacterial culture, Greek yogurt tends to have active bacterial culture in it. That helps. That helps me digest it. So I still don't eat Greek yogurt very often, but if I'm going to eat a yogurt, Greek yogurt is usually what I go for. Recently discovered Greek yogurt, and it's like yogurt, but it's angry at me. Oh, I love Greek yogurt. It's so good. Thought most people with lactose intolerance are okay with breads and stuff. Maybe you drew the short straw. I'm okay with bread as long as it doesn't have milk in it. Most bread doesn't have milk in it. But lots of like doughs and cake mixes and stuff usually call for some form of dairy. I can't remember if there was milk in the banana bread the last time I made it, but it's easy to replace milk with oat milk in baking recipes. I have a friend who is allergic to the protein specific to cow's milk, so he gets goat cheese on his pizza and stuff. Sheep milk, goat milk, buffalo milk, whatever. He just can't do cow milk. Interesting. I find that goat milk is easier for me to digest as well. Still has lactose in it, but much less. I do everything from scratch as a rule because vegan. Makes sense. I use a lot of vegan recipes. I'm gonna pause the timer just so we don't, just so it doesn't switch over on us in the middle. But I appreciate that vegans have already figured out how to live a happy dairy-free life. So I use a lot of vegan recipes. I use a lot of like vegan substitutes and stuff. Because somebody else has already done the legwork of figuring out how to make all the things that I love that I can't separate from dairy. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that because then I don't have to do trial and error. Somebody else has already been like, here's a recipe for this that replaces dairy. And I'm like, yes, give me all the good things. I've got celiac disease, so can't touch a crumb of wheat or I'm sick for days. Oh no, Scriblins. Our good friend Vinyl is also not celiac, but gluten intolerant. So we usually keep some gluten-free stuff in the house just for when we get people over who can't have gluten. I specifically meant bread with milk because it came up once when I was trying to cut out milk to see if it made my digestion better. It was more trouble than it was worth, and it didn't help anyway. Yeah, if it doesn't help, if it doesn't make a difference, for me it made a big difference. When I cut milk out of my diet, I went from feeling like just gross and brain foggy and crampy all the time to feeling like myself again. It was like night and day. So I know the dairy was the source. Like, I know because if I don't take quite enough of my pill, because I kind of have to guesstimate how much pill is enough pill when I'm eating dairy. I always pay for it afterwards. So for me, I know it's the milk. That's the cause. Goat milk smells like goats. I mean, comes from goats. Same friend said it probably didn't matter if I ate like a hamburger bun with milk in it because that stuff is usually safe. One frustrating thing these days is how many random websites have AI recipes that don't work. Oh no, yeah, I usually look for, it's weird to say, but people who like post recipes usually post like a life story about it first, and that you at least know that that's a real person, right? If you have to scroll past the life story, you at least know that's a real person. But yeah, it depends on the amount of milk. For me, I'm very sensitive, so even a small amount of milk without a pill can get me. But for some people, it's not that big a deal. Like, I have to read labels for everything. If there's even, sometimes even just whey protein can get me. But not everyone is that sensitive. Like, I know lactose intolerant people who can sometimes eat mac and cheese and be fine. So it's to your level of tolerance. I did get the short end of the stick. I am very intolerant. That friend's wife has celiac, and with my general digestive issues, no one has been able to diagnose or treat. When we went out to B-dubs, that friend used to tell new waiters, we eat bacon together. Have you seen how many chemicals are put into nut oils just to make it have a taste? I mean, I know because I don't drink that kind of stuff, but I can imagine. I identify a real person baking recipes by the oddly specific instructions, like to level one specific ingredient with the flat part of a knife to get the measurement right. Yeah. Yeah, look for the signs of humanity. Alright, I'm going to unleash the timer because we got 30 more minutes of clicky clackies to get in here. I'm going to finish this scene, and we will wrap up and raid somebody. Ooh, let me pop up the final sprint notification. I saw one time that oat milk is like the fat equivalent of eating 3/4 of a stick of butter. Not the oat milk that we use, but I have heard that oat milk, is very different in Canada versus in the US. The oat milk that we use is very healthy. Yeah, let's get some writing done. But it's also a Canadian specific brand, so... I'm pretty sure ours is less than that, but I'd have to go look at the carton. Oh yeah, we don't have Oatly here, I don't think. all milk bad? Are you lactose intolerant as well, Key? Do you lactose? If Joe was here, he could tell us tales about milk and eggs. Would we want to hear those tales is the question. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the oat milk that we use because I have a, it's tucked in here, hiding, but I have a Weight Watchers calculator. It's older, it works on one of the older systems, but I can use it to calculate the points of something, and I used it to calculate the points of my, like, breakfast cereal. And it was roughly equivalent to using regular milk. So I'm not too worried about it. But I do know that they apparently make oat milk differently in Canada versus in the US. Editing done! Heck yeah, psychiatric! Lactose is great. They tested me since milk always messed me up. Turns out it must be something else. Oh, but you don't know what it is in the milk that makes you react to it, Key? I mean, sounds like a good call if you don't know what is in it that causes the issue. How are you being bullied by your wife, Key? What is she doing? Yeah, Ghost Pepper also lives on cheese, so he would not handle being lactose intolerant. She beat me up for some grilled cheese and tomato soup. I bet you would have given her the grilled cheese and tomato soup even if she didn't beat you up. I think I have a way to get my male main character in contact with the female main characters of the story. That's good. That sounds like something that gotta happen. It was being a pain, but I had a thought. He could get so immersed in the repairs on their ship that he doesn't realize they have cornered him. Uh-oh. All right, I'm at 4,098 words, and I think that is where I'm gonna pause. Pause or stop? Stop. That's where I'm gonna end. That's where I'm gonna end this scene. We're at 4,098 words for this installment. My Little Domerin, Episode 7, Act 1. I have a much clearer idea of what I want to do with Act 2 now as well. So, let's see. We do have 7 minutes of extra time. 100%. Not gonna lie, I really want a nap today. Not gonna get one, but really would like one. Must ask you a question. As a musician, which Star Trek theme do you think is the best? I don't know if I'm familiar enough with the various Star Trek themes to answer off the top of my head. I've decided to call my version of Shell People Cores, and as the core of the station, he has been using his avatar to personally work on the repairs of their ship, even knowing that saving their lives in their first place, repairing their ship and letting them leave or getting found could lead to his being indentured again. He wants people to be happy, it sounds like. I don't think I can eat and nap at the same time. Yeah, I definitely am. I'm feeling that, I've been open about this in the past. I tend to get really bad cramps during my lady times. And I tend to feel just like a slow drag in the days leading up to that time. So I'm definitely in the territory of, like, my body. I don't feel like a total dumpster fire today, but my body is kind of like not really excited about activity. I did manage to get some yoga in this morning. I don't know if it was a good idea, but I did manage to get some yoga in this morning. But I've just been sleepy since I woke up. The coffee has helped, but even with, you know, full caffeination, there's a part of me that's just like, would love to crawl into bed. The coffee is working, yeah. But sometimes there's fatigue that is stronger than the coffee can fully combat, you know? Progress! I wrote half a scene I was struggling with. Heck yeah! It feels even nicer. I know I'm talking through the last part of the sprint, but here we are. It feels even nicer to write something when you're struggling with it. I have a definitive answer. It's Deep Space Nine. I don't know if I'm gonna agree with that. The original series is a bit too screechy. I could agree with that because it had the theremin in it. It very heavily featured the theremin, and the theremin is a certain tone of music. But I don't remember most of the other. The only one that I've heard recently is the Strange New Worlds one. He's conversation starved. He hasn't had a conversation with a physical person in 50 years. That's a long time. Your husband has a theremin. That's awesome. I'm assuming he knows how to play. I've only ever seen one once. They had it on Make Some Noise. They did a thing where somebody played the theremin and they had to try and match the sound. Which they did not do very well. But it was super cool to watch them, like, make sound with it. Theremins are very cool, but I imagine it takes a lot of practice to know how to get it to make the right sounds. He does know how to play. He busts it out every once in a while on Saturday musical improv stream. That's amazing. I love that. Sometimes your body knows what it needs. I hope you get a nap today. Oh, Scriblins, thank you. I probably won't get a nap today, but I promise I will take it easy Tonight is Winds of Chaos night, so once Winds of Chaos starts, I will just be chillaxing here at my computer desk. And then afterwards, I always go hang out on the couch for a bit before I go to bed. I've taken to watching a show in the late evening before I go to bed, and I think it's been helping me de-stress a lot. Just being away from my computer for a bit and not thinking about everything that I gotta do. He also has an automaton. I don't know how it's spelled, but I do know what you mean. Those things are super cool too. I looked up how they worked because I wasn't sure, and the science behind them is really interesting. I don't have a favorite Star Trek theme, but I have a favorite song themed on Star Trek The Next Generation. Ooh, interesting. I'm sorry that I can't answer your question, Peter. I'd have to go re-listen to all of the themes, and I obviously can't do that on stream. Theremins are weird. They're like angry metal. I don't need metal shouting at me. I do like the like sci-fi-ish sound. I do know that when they made the original theme for the original Star Trek, they used the theremin because they thought it sounded like spacey, like sci-fi-y, and I do think it is a very sci-fi sounding instrument. Gonna check out. I have an audiobook to listen to. Someone is about to die. It's a horrible place to pause. No worries, Sardinisms. We're gonna be wrapping up in 2 minutes anyway. Take care. Have a good day. Probably won't see you next week, but I will see you the week after, hopefully. Must tend to the banana bread. Yeah, this is a good time to mention that I probably won't be streaming next week due to the aforementioned not feeling good times. Depending on the timing, I always say I'll try to squeeze one in, and it almost never happens because I'm always like, yeah, hopefully I'll feel good by this time, and then I just don't feel good by then. So, you know, depending on how I feel, it would be nice to squeeze in a Thursday stream, but it probably won't happen. I probably won't feel decent by then. I always like to think that I will, and then my body makes a liar of me. But keep an eye on the Discord. If for some reason I do feel up to streaming, there'll be a message on there. Otherwise, I will stream the following week, our usual stream times, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, unless something goes horribly and bizarrely wrong that prevents that from happening, which hopefully won't happen, because I've had enough of computer troubles lately. Hey, thank you guys for hanging out on the stream. Discord, yes, there is a command for the Discord. I share this Discord with my husband Ghost Pepper, so don't panic when you see that it's called the Pepper Patch. It is our joint Discord. We decided when I started streaming that it just made more sense for us to share a Discord versus each having one. So that is where you can find all the most up-to-date information on both of us. And incidentally, it's where you'll be able to see who's hosting Winds of Chaos tonight, because I forgot to find out who will be hosting tonight. Sometimes I don't find out until they go live. Let's see, who is around today? It looks like maybe our best bet is going to be Digital Cow, who I know we have been reading a lot lately, but I love Digital Cow streams. They are a nice, chill place to hang out, and Digital Cow hangs out in our streams a lot too. So we will head over there. I do think maybe it's either... I think Ghost said he hosted the last one, so it's either Woof or Flutter, but I'm never sure what order it goes in. But yes, as far as I know, Winds of Chaos is happening tonight, and as far as I know, my Cozy Chaos stream with It's Woof will be happening on Friday at 7:30 p.m. PST, as per usual. And then after that, I will probably melt into the shadows for a couple of days while I recover from feeling like a dumpster fire. But we will be back. There will be more clicky clacks. I promise. It's a small interruption. Hopefully, very small interruption this time, not like last time. And let's go raid a digital cow. Don't forget to take care of yourself in the interim until I see you again. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to get up, move around. You know, take your meds, do all the things that you gotta do. I hope you have the most creativity and the most productivity. And on the days when you need to rest, I hope you have the most of that too. Thank you guys. Psychiatric, it was nice to meet you. You guys are always so patient and so wonderful coming to hang out with me during my work time. I know that we have slightly fewer clicky clacks while I'm editing, so I hope that you enjoyed your weekly dose of clicky clacks here on today's stream. And I will be around on the Discord, and I will be wishing you guys all the best until I see you again, because you are the best. See you guys very soon.